At any given second, your cells are active, consuming energy and driving your metabolism. But this constant activity produces dangerous waste. As the liver breaks down excess amino acids, it generates nitrogenous wastes, like urea and uric acid. Your cellular activity also produces excess mineral salts. If these unwanted substances are retained in the bloodstream, they act as internal poisons, disrupting normal cellular function and eventually causing death. The mandatory biological process of removing these harmful metabolic waste substances is called excretion. Human survival requires a continuous, active filtration system to purge these toxins before they accumulate. The primary organs responsible for this massive systemic blood purification are the kidneys. This diagram outlines the scale of their work. Every 24 hours, the human excretory system generates 180 liters of primary urine, yet the body only expels about 1.5 liters of final urine a day. This leaves a massive mathematical gap. Where do the missing 178.5 liters go, and why filter so much fluid in the first place if we expel so little? This reveals the kidney's true role. They function as a massive, highly selective microscopic recycling engine. To trace how this engine operates, we start with the macroanatomy. You have two reddish-brown, bean-shaped kidneys located towards the back of the abdomen, just below the last two ribs. This schematic traces the internal plumbing. Blood travels down the central aorta and branches off directly into the lateral renal arteries to enter the kidneys. While this incoming blood is often called impure, it is actually rich in oxygen. The impurity refers strictly to the high load of nitrogenous waste it carries. Looking at a kidney cross-section, it divides into distinct layers, an outer cortex and an inner medulla. The medulla acts as a drainage network, routing fluid inward to a funnel-shaped structure known as the renal pelvis. This macroarchitecture exists to evenly distribute massive volumes of incoming blood down into millions of microscopic processing centers. These processing centers are the basic structural and functional units of the kidney, called nephrons. A human has roughly 2 million of them across both kidneys. If you were to uncoil and measure the microscopic tubular structures inside these nephrons, they would stretch over 160 kilometers. The sequence starts at a cup-like Bowman's capsule, enveloping a capillary network. Here, blood pressure forcefully pushes fluid out of the capillaries and into the capsule, generating that initial 180 liters of primary urine daily. But this initial fluid is completely unrefined. It contains toxic waste, but it also holds vital, life-sustaining nutrients like glucose and essential ions. The Bowman's capsule separates molecules by volume alone. A critical second step is required to retrieve the useful materials and prevent severe dehydration. The mixed fluid enters a highly twisted path called the urinary tubule. Here, selective reabsorption occurs. The tubule actively extracts glucose, most water, and essential ions, pulling them back into the bloodstream. Left behind are urea, extra salts, and surplus vitamins. The kidney dynamically adjusts this ratio of water and salt reabsorption based on the body's internal environment. This precise balancing act is called osmoregulation. Other organs influence this balance. Your skin acts as an accessory excretory organ, expelling excess water and salts through sweat evaporation to cool the body. During periods of high sweat loss, the kidneys reabsorb even more water from the tubules. The resulting urine output is smaller in volume and heavily concentrated. This solves our mathematical paradox. The missing 178.5 liters of fluid are meticulously reabsorbed, preserving our internal fluid mechanics while concentrating the exact 1.5 liters of toxic waste we need to expel. That concentrated waste finally drains from millions of individual nephrons into larger collecting ducts. It funnels into the renal pelvis before exiting the kidney entirely, traveling down a narrow set of tubes called the ureters. The urine collects temporarily in a muscular bag called the urinary bladder until the body expels it to the outside through a single tube, the urethra. However, this plumbing relies on strict fluid ratios. If substances like calcium oxalate outnumber the fluid volume, they clump together. These jagged kidney stones can physically block the flow of urine, causing extreme pain and dangerous system backup. The physical architecture of excretion is highly efficient, but it is vulnerable to these chemical tolerances. Without sufficient water intake to wash out the waste, the system stalls. A total system stall is catastrophic. If both kidneys are severely damaged or infected, biological filtration stops. Within a very short period, the bloodstream becomes overloaded with urea and unmanaged metabolic wastes. To prevent death, medical engineering replicates the damaged nephrons using a process called hemodialysis. The hemodialyser machine mimics the renal loops, pulling blood out of the body, pushing it through synthetic filters to extract the toxic waste, and pumping the purified blood back in. It takes an external machine the size of a small refrigerator to temporarily achieve what 2 million biological filters accomplish automatically every second. Every 24 hours, your kidneys turn 180 liters of primary fluid into just 1.5 liters of meticulously curated waste. They execute this through a strict sequence: brute force filtration to clear the blood, followed by highly selective reabsorption to retrieve everything your body needs to survive. It is a continuous physical process of separating vital nutrients from toxic biological waste. Ultimately, the excretory system acts as the master internal regulator. It maintains the exact chemical and fluid equilibrium required to keep the human engine running safely.